All right, so real quick, everybody probably remembers, or at least anybody that's around remembers, about this time last fall, I went to that AGCO dealer auction and bought this. Let's see if I can get the light to where you can see the sign, but not the light. And bought this AGCO white lit up dealer sign. Never in my life did I figure I would actually own a dealer sign from a local dealer, because all the local dealers are gone, and I didn't realize that when that dealer was selling out, they still had signs and crap from when they were dealers. So I was pretty excited to get this. And if everybody remembers, there was also in the basement of that building a lime green 1974 or later, and not very much later, because they didn't use that sign design for very long, but it came out in 74 when the 4150 and the 2105 first came out. There was that lime green white farm equipment dealer sign down there that I missed because it was originally not supposed to sell when they started the auction in the morning, and by the time they got around to the sign in the afternoon down in the basement, they decided to sell it, and I had already bought that sign and thought that I had spent a lot more money than I actually did, so I didn't bid on it. I thought it was gone for good. I never figured in a million years I'd get a second chance at it. Well, about it must have been about 2 weeks ago. I can't remember where I was at. I think it was right after Rantoul, maybe. My boss was on Facebook, and apparently there is an Oliver auction site on Facebook. I don't know, I'm not on Facebook. I have zero desire to get on Facebook, but anyway, my boss was on that Oliver auction site, and lo and behold, we gotta walk over here for the big reveal. Da 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 da. Guess what was on that Oliver White auction Facebook page? I never figured I'd get a second chance at it, especially not at, I mean, we're just shy of a year later, almost to the day. I never figured I was almost speechless when he sent it to me. And I told him, I was like, and I'm not a sign guy, I have no idea what this thing would be worth to anybody. The only thing that made me want it was those 4 words right there. That made me not really care what it was worth, because that right there made it worth something to me. And I told the boss, I said, I'm willing to go to 1500. That's really, I mean, I shouldn't go that high. I don't need it. I try to make decent financial decisions. This was a piss poor financial decision, but here it sits, and I ended up getting it for $1,100 bucks. Well, $1,125. Really, I only had one major competitor on it, and it was a guy from South Bend, apparently, from what the boss man said. And it took a minute. It took 3 or 4 days, but he finally told me last Sunday that I got it bought, and I finally went and got it this Friday. When I was down at Wyckoff's, I caught it on the way back. It just so happened it went down to North Judson, Indiana, and I'm assuming that the guy that bought it is either related somehow to Olson's or Listinsky's, because I know that he was an auctioneer, and he was helping out because the auction was done by Big Bear, which is out north of here. But the guy that was, or the ring man that was running it, he was just helping Big Bear out. He wasn't related to them, and he was either a Listinsky or an Olson, but either way, the sign went down just south of North Judson, Indiana. The guy that bought it at the auction, the auctioneer that bought it at the auction for $500 bucks, sold it to his neighbor, who was the guy that I bought it off of. And his neighbor had it in a storage unit, and he decided to get rid of it because he said they do run some white stuff, but he said most of his sign collection, and apparently it sounds like he has a big one. I thought, seems like he said like 200 something odd signs, mostly related to seed and fertilizer and stuff like that. So he said this didn't really fit in his collection. It was kind of bigger than what he wanted, because it's a 5 by just shy by a couple inches of a 5x8 sign. It's big. It's bigger than I remember it being. So he decided to sell it. That's when he threw it on Facebook, and here it sits. So, and this is going to be its forever home until I die, because it's sure as hell not leaving. Because it went an hour and a half, well, from Baroda, it'd be almost an hour and a half away from home, and now it's only about 10 minutes away from home. So it made me happy. I should not have bought it. It was a piss poor financial decision. I'm kind of glad that Brian was bidding on it instead of me, because had I been bidding on it and had I had to have gone north of 1,500, I probably would have got pissed. And I probably would have started spending stupid money on it, but luckily that didn't happen. I got it under what I was willing to go for it. So, the guy I bought it from had it in a storage unit. The auctioneer that had it must have had it either outside or in an open-sided shed, because it was covered in bird shit. I just got done washing it off. I used some Meguiar's wax soap stuff and cleaned it up pretty good. This right here, I don't know where exactly they had it hanging on the building when it was on the building, but it must have been somewhere where birds like to roost, because this right here is all old damage right here. And it doesn't, it's too far. That's not coming off. So, but really this right here is the only blemish on it. The rest of it is, I'd give this thing a 9 out of 10, just because of this right here. Everything else is spotless. The only thing on it that is not period correct is this WFE right here, because this logo did not come out until 1984. I'm guessing when WFE came out, they stuck this sticker on there. Originally it would have, and you can kind of make it out, it just has the WM for White Motors. You can kind of make out the legs of the W and the legs of the M right there. But I'm not going to try to peel that off, because I don't want to risk peeling any paint off. And they put that on at the dealer, so there's no, and actually looking at it now that I'm actually looking at it in the light, that's not even a sticker. They painted that, they masked that off. That's paint. You can see they brushed, that's all painted on. They must have painted that on with a stencil. So that's not coming off anyway. But that's something they did at the dealership when the WFE logo came out. So that's vintage. That's not something that anybody did recently. So that just kind of adds to the history of it. So, but I think it's gonna go out there in the barn on the west wall underneath the skylight. That way the birds shouldn't be able to get to it in there, and if I keep it on that wall, there won't be any sunlight shining on it, so I don't have to worry about sun fade. So, but this is gonna have to get hung up here sometime this week, because it's safer hanging on a wall than it is sitting on the floor in a barn somewhere. So I have to figure out, I'm gonna have to nip these nails off. I gotta figure out, I wonder if I can get some truss plates, because I'm gonna have to fix this frame somehow. But if I can get these nails nipped off and get this clamped together, I wonder if I can get some truss plates and nail to it, to kind of strengthen that a little bit. I mean, in the end, it kind of doesn't matter, because the way they had it hung up, they just screwed right through right here, and so since the holes are already there, that's all I'm gonna do is just screw right to it. Actually there was pre-drilled holes in it, so actually what I might do, and then I wouldn't have to worry about fixing the frame and worrying, it wouldn't be so bad. I guess if I can get these nails out from around it, that way I can actually get to the other side of the frame, get the frame out, fix the frame, and then put the frame back on the sign and then hang the sign. And what I can probably do, since there's screws or screw holes on the bottom already and I don't have to worry about hurting the sign, is get a couple 2x4s and cut them long enough to span a couple girts on the wall, and then actually screw through the 2x4s into the wall. That way it's hanging on the 2x4s, not hanging on the sign. I mean, in the end it's hanging on the sign either way, but the 2x4s would give it some strength. So, but I'm excited. I'm happy to have it. I wish I could get the dealer sign from our dealer here in the town I grew up in. I know where one of them is at, but it's in another collection, and it's probably not coming home anytime soon. Actually, I know where two of them are at. There's one down in Morocco, Indiana, of all places, in a guy's barn. But there's one that's still here in town, and it's not going anywhere either. So this was probably my only chance to own a dealer sign from a local dealer, and when I pulled the trigger, I was serious about it. So, but anyway, I just wanted to show this off real quick. So, like I say, this week it's probably going to get hung up in the barn, or at least on the next rain day. It depends on how parts end up showing up this week as to how much time I got. But like I say, first things first, the frame has to get doctored a little bit. So anyway, that's what I got for you. So that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.